Hello, I'm your host, Amanda Graith, and you're watching Art Adventures. We are a couple of artists.
No, we won't do that.
You can if you want to.
No. Okay, my name is Lori Holdread.
Doug Holdread.
And we're both artists in Trinidad, Colorado.
Did you know that you were going to kind of stick with art through your life?
I knew that I wanted to. I didn't know if I could. And really, I ended up being very, very happy that I went into education. But that was really a compromise at the time that I was in my senior year at college. And all of a sudden I started thinking about what in the hell do I do next?
Especially if you want to stay in Trinidad.
Art degrees in general.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to do commercial art? What are you going to do?
So real quick, in my last semester, I took all the teacher education required stuff to get my teaching certificate and did that.
I still don't know if I want to stick with it. Before I got any training and just did my little things from my heart when I was a kid, it was all freedom and no constraints, but I didn't have any idea about design or what's the word for how you balance things?
Composition.
Yeah, composition or color theory, and all that was when I was in school. That was at University of Southwestern Louisiana. And I had one teacher that was outstanding that I got. He taught most of the classes and he taught art history. And I just loved that guy. I'm not afraid of art anymore. When I started out, I was very, very afraid, very intimidated because I would hide my ugly journal pages and I would cut them out with X-Acto knives and throw them away. And I was ashamed, but now I'm not ashamed. I'm just like, I go for it. And that translates to all kinds of things.
Being brave in general.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I learned it from art, but I think there's a definite relationship between art and my attitude towards life, because I really do see a lot of things in terms of complementary yin-yang, positive and negative spaces, areas, and dynamic tensions. There's a balance between unity and variety that you have to think about when you're doing art. And I see that in my life, where I want to have a consistent, unified flow and direction. But I enjoy the diversity of everything between natural forms and cultures and people and everything. I think variety.
Can I tell her where you do your thinking?
Well, sure.
Everybody knows in Trinidad. He spends literally hours laying in the bathtub with a journal and a book and a pencil, and he thinks and thinks and writes, and his journals go back 30 years, and he's got all his thoughts. He breaks everything down and has these visual schematics about the things that he's thinking about that day. I think that's a beautiful practice, and I think it's one of the things about you I really love.
And the whole idea of going with the flow and letting the medium behave in the way that it wants to, I think is something that I've learned to translate into relationships. You can't control the outcome of a work of art, I don't think, really. It might look like you controlled it, but probably not. But you definitely can't control any other human beings.
Mm-mm.
And so it's dialogic, and it's helping. I mean, to me, art is kind of coaxing the medium to kind of be free, and I think that's something that I endeavor to do in my relationships with other people, is being hopefully a positive influence, but more than that, just conveying the grace of life, reassuring them that who they are is beautiful.
I have to say, when I think about it from that perspective, I realize, okay, it has changed my life massively, because before I was an artist, I used to really try to pull strings and control not my children's behavior, but their environment. Like, I tried to swing it so they got all the good teachers and none of the bad teachers, and control things. And meeting Doug and doing art has calmed that aspect of my life down, and I'm way more apt to watch and as things unfold over weeks, months, years, however long things take. I don't expect resolution as fast as I used to, and I don't think I expect resolution at all sometimes. And that's something I'm so grateful for, that's changed for me. Well, you're on a commission. He's like doing a redo of an old piece that he did a long time ago that a guy fell in love with and wanted, but he'd already sold, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. It's a Santa Fe Trail thing. And
it's kind of a big map of the Santa Fe Trail that's illuminated. It has an illustration of some of the people that traveled on the trail. And that original piece was part of First National Bank of Trinidad asked me to do the artwork for their annual calendar, which they do every year for I don't know how many years now.
Yeah, like 30 or 40 years.
So those paintings went to the Santa Fe Trail Center in Learned, Kansas as a body of work. There were 13 pieces. But this map was on the cover, and it's been used a lot by the National Park Service and by the Santa Fe Trail Association and different...
Can I tell her that story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we were driving home from Santa Fe one year, 5 years ago or something like that. And all of a sudden, we were looking at the things along the road, and we see this big, giant advertising. What are they called?
Billboard.
Billboard, thank you. We see a big, giant billboard with his Santa Fe Trail painting on it. And I mean, I was like, that looks just like that one that Doug did. And then I looked at it closer, and I'm like, hey, Doug, look at that. Isn't that yours? And we were like, his painting was enlarged, and it was like giant, and we didn't even know they did that. So we got out and like took pictures standing at the bottom of it. It's not there anymore, though.
No.
It's gone. It was really cool looking.
It's really kind of weird looking at this again. I've seen it
Revisiting
over
art.
and over and over again over the years, but when you start to draw it, copy parts of it, you look at it in a whole different level. A lot of times I just let the drawing show through. Because it just will, even if you try to paint over it.
But he's got a lot of work along the Santa Fe Trail in those, where you pull over and there's the little kiosk that gives you the info by the roadside. Mm-hmm. If you go along the trail, his artwork is in a lot of those. So he's the Santa Fe Trail guy, really. He does a lot of Santa Fe Trail stuff.
The Holdreads inspire me so much. I'll elaborate more as we get further into the episode, but Doug, being the Santa Fe Trail guy, leads us to our paranormal investigation part. We explore 3 places on and along the Santa Fe Trail. Our first stop is on the northeast side of Trinidad, from where Doug and Lori live. There's little information I could find about this Mesa-inspired one-room schoolhouse. The only way I knew it was started as a schoolhouse is from a book by Kenneth Jessen called Ghost Towns of Eastern Colorado. The only reminiscence of its original purpose lies in the basement, where there's some old school desks. However, I didn't actually go onto the property myself because the no trespassing signs in my record. So I had a drone fly around, and I did research after the exploration to figure out what this was. And I saw someone else had gone in there, and there's an entire basement and there's school desks. This area and the surrounding buildings were established in 1912 or so. My suspicion is this building may be from the late 1800s. As a part of researching paranormal from my car, I got no fluctuations on the EMF reader or the ghost box. I didn't get any temperature changes or anything on the talking board, which my talking board was a mouse pad because I didn't actually bring one with me.
Around max, I'm not getting any readings so far.
The mask just felt comfortable. My big brother gave it to me. I think it's gorgeous, and I just feel good in it.
The best that I can do for not being in the building. Hello? Would you talk to me, please? If anyone or anything wants to talk, I'm here to listen. Maybe I need to take the mask off. Let's see. Hello? Would you help me out, please? I'm sliding it myself, see how easily it is to go. Oh, it's not that easy, but it's something. Nothing's changed on the EMF reader. What did you learn today? It's moving ever so slightly. It's probably me, because it's just me anyway. We're almost at G. Go ahead, talk to me. Tell me what you've learned. Tell me the beautiful things about today. All right. Is anyone still here? It's so windy. I don't think so. All right. Well, goodbye. Put my mask back on. My disappointment. And moving on.
Well, we didn't get much from that. We saw a beautiful building, but no paranormal stuff. Back to the Holdreads for now.
I was an art history major in college, but my parents kind of browbeat me out of it and told me that was not a practical degree and kind of talked me into switching my major to education. So that's why I was teaching school. I wasn't even teaching art, even though I was an art history major. So when I got to the college and I met Doug and I got to see some of his classes, and I was very excited because I had tried to keep dibble-dabbling as an artist through all those years and raising kids and teaching elementary school. But when I met Doug, he started like sneaking me back into it by loaning me all his cool art supplies. Oh my God, if I wanted to try anything, he'd like run and get it all for me and like lay it all out for me. And he bought me my first journal and showed me how to like use collage, you know, because I was really paranoid about my drawing skills because I hadn't really done anything in a long time. And then slowly I got my drawing skills back. And
That's what got me started doing art again.
Oh, wow.
And he did this page. So when I opened my present, I was like, ooh! And then I opened it and I was like, oh, Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
can do that.
Cool.
Yeah, and he gave me a list. He goes, Lori, this is just a dedication page. Give yourself permission to mess up this book. And then
I love that.
he had torn bits, and he said, you could do things you're afraid of. Ice, standing in line, drop-offs, slime, clowns, mimes, rednecks. And if you look at it from the start, it's like these first pages are all writing and very little bits of visual pieces, and as you go through, the visuals get more and more, front and center, and then pretty soon there's like hardly any writing and it's all visual. When you're switching, you can almost feel it happening in your head. Really on your logic side, right, think, and then you're going, whoa,
Flow.
back and forth. But we got to do a duet show in town at the First Street Gallery that's like behind the Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the best time trying to fill that gallery up because I didn't have a whole lot of work and Doug did. And so, we dug everything out and made prints of a bunch of my pages.
Cool.
It was really, really fun.
Lori started doing journaling workshops for various different audiences.
Yeah, I was one of them.
Yeah. I did a group for the community, and oh my God, I couldn't believe how many people showed up. That was the biggest workshop I ever did, and I was like, what do I do? So yeah, and so I've been working on stuff like that. I did my journaling techniques on furniture, and I have sold almost everything I've ever done. For a long time, I didn't think I was really an artist because I was using sort of collage on my furniture and using posters and not my own drawing, just like slapping a piece of some fancy artist's work on there and then like doing abstracts off of that work.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I could call myself the artist because I didn't know if it was allowed, if you could interpret that way. Mm-hmm. But as time went on, I got more confident
Well, and you
about
figured
being
out
an artist.
what is public domain and what isn't,
What the boundaries are for that.
Yeah.
And Doug kept telling me, you're an artist. Geez, you're an artist. And finally I said, okay, I'm an artist. About maybe
Plus, what
10
you end
years
up
ago.
with doesn't really retain much of the original piece.
Yeah, it's very altered by the time I'm done with it.
Aren't they just lovely? She inspired me to paint again. And I haven't painted in years. And now I painted a bunch of stuff. A bunch of not great, not really sellable stuff, but my stuff. Anyway, this brings us to our second location of adventures on the south end of Trinidad, just off the Santa Fe Trail, kind of following the Purgatory River that runs through the town. The building left standing is the Aloysius Catholic Church, built in 1908. Morlaix coal mining ghost town. It's an entire town that was left behind. It was a coal mining town, reduced to the rubble that you see now. But this gorgeous Mesa-style church face still stands tall. Thanks for watching. This is part 1 of Art Adventures, episode 3, with artists Doug and Lori Holdread, and part of the exploration of the Santa Fe Trail. If you'd like to finish this episode, it's up next. It's ready to go! Attention spans force me to split it in half.